Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Wednesday edition of the Mark Moses Show as we are broadcasting live here on the beautiful Space Coast area of Florida. And yes, we are always here on the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Also want to give a shout out to our new great sponsor, Chumley's Depot in downtown Melbourne, where friends meet. Coach Mims is giving the thumbs up. Yeah, we had Marcus on a couple days ago. He was a Florida Tech alumni, big sports fan, also from the south side of Chicago. I approve of him. Marcus, good name, and I like where you're from. Check out Chumley's Depot in downtown Melbourne and Walk On Sports Bistreaux in Vieira, home of the $5 Tito's and $5 22-ounce Busch Lights. All day, every day at Walk-On's Vieira. Let's bring him on. He's a busy man, and he is the number one in the fan club for the Joker there in the Denver Nuggets. He is legendary basketball coach Billy Mims, as we have to talk some playoffs right now. Coach, how you doing today?
Mark, gosh, I'm in heaven right now, right? There's 2 or 3, sometimes 4 NBA games a night over the last couple of weeks. For a basketball fan, a basketball purist like myself, this time of the year is heaven.
All right, I want to go over this. So I've known Coach for a long time. And so he texts me on this phone. He calls me on this phone. But what he does is he can't help himself. He will direct message me on Instagram. So what's funny is, as a single man, I'm like, oh, maybe a lady's messaging me on. No. It's just all my buddies, as you can see. It's all my buddies sending memes and jokes. And then there's Coach Mims. I got to bring this up. So if you look here, it's just Mims sending about how great the Joker is. And I don't blame him. Okay? That's all he's sending. Dude, I'm going to give you your flowers. You have not messed around like, oh, maybe this other guy could be the MVP. You're like, no, the Joker is the man. He's the MVP. And what I saw the other night, what they did in Oklahoma City, Joker is the man. He is. So the floor is yours. Why is Nikola Jokic the best player in the world?
It may happen that SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he may get the popular vote, so to speak, among sports media like yourself, who vote for the NBA Most Valuable Player. And SGA might steal the award, much like Joel Embiid stole the award from the Joker. The Joker already should be on 4 consecutive MVPs, all right? He's won 3 out of the last 4. He should be on 4 straight. He should be headed to 5 straight. You said, why is he the best player in the world? I think he's the best player in the galaxy. If there's another basketball game going on one of those distant stars, they ain't got Nikola Jokic, all right? I love his story, Mark. I love his story. When he was young and they were playing pickup basketball games and he's like 8, 9 years old, he said he was the last one picked all the time. The last guy picked. You know why? Because he was a slow, fat kid. And then he proudly shows pictures of himself when he was that little slow, fat kid, right? And today he says, but look, the NBA is the best basketball in the world, the best basketball in the universe, the best basketball in this Milky Way galaxy, wherever you want to go. It is the ultimate epitome of playing the game of basketball, right? And it reminds me of a song by Toby Keith. I've told you this before.
Yes, you have.
Every time I hear this song, I think of Nikola Jokic, and I wonder if he's got it on his iPhone and he's sending it to his friends back in Europe from his Serbian youth days, right? Saying, how do you like me now? Right?
Yes.
He's putting up, Mark, numbers that we've never seen before in the game of basketball. Every single night, he seems to pass another all-time great. And I was looking at this a moment ago, coming on with you. The other night, there was playoff games with 40 points, 20 rebounds, and at least 5 assists. The other night, head-to-head with everybody that the media says, oh, no, this year it's not Joker. It's SGA. Head-to-head with SGA, game 1 of a 7-game elimination series, OKC with the home court advantage, head-to-head. SGA did not lead his team to victory. And all those sports pundits, Mark, have said the reason they're voting for Shea is because they won so many games. It's the wins. He led his team to the most wins this year in the NBA. Well, in the past, there have been a different opinion. A few NBA MVPs were not on the number 1 team in the league, but they were the best player in the league. Correct me if I'm wrong, but MVP is an individual award, not a team award. And you and I have talked about this. The other night in game 1, even though Shea had 36 points in game 1, right? He had 36 points. And let me make sure I don't tell you the wrong number.
They're big stats.
Like 33 points. I'm already wrong. He had 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. Monster game for SGA, right?
Monster game.
Monster game. But Alex Caruso had 20 points that night. Jay Williams, 16 points that night. Couple of the other normal guys don't show up to help Shea, but Shea didn't lead that team to victory, right? Even with all those other big-time players on that team. Joker, on the other hand, 42 points, 22 rebounds, 6 assists, and the one thing he does that Shea doesn't do, in my opinion, Joker does make everyone around him better. Joker had the game. Aaron Gordon had 22 points and 14 rebounds and hit the game-winning shot. Jamal Murray, 21 points in the game. Russell Westbrook, 18 points in the game. 121-119. Everybody had Denver down and out, dead and buried. But Nikola Jokic, the Joker, just kept believing, just kept playing. They found a way to come back and beat SGA and beat OKC. Game 1 on their home floor, steal home court advantage. Joker moves into a prestigious group of only 5 guys or 5 times in history, 40-plus points, 20-plus rebounds, over 5 assists. Every single night, Mark, Nikola Jokic is putting up some kind of number we've never seen before and passing all-time greats. He's already booked his place in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Already booked his place in the Basketball Hall of Fame, right? All he's doing now is adding to the records and the numbers. And from my opinion, when you take those two, no one disagrees at all with what I'm saying, that Joker and SGA were the absolute 2 best players in the league this year. No one's disagreeing with that. That is not up for debate. But a lot of people, after seeing Joker win it 3 times and almost 4 times already, they want to spread the love around. So let's give it to SGA because everybody thinks SGA is going to lead his team to an upset of the Celtics and an NBA championship. For my money, Nikola Jokic is still the MVP, the best player in the NBA, the best player on the planet, the best player in the galaxy, and probably the best player in the universe. Nikola Jokic, head-to-head, proved on that guy's floor that he could lead his team to victory. So if the pundits want to talk about wins, let's look at the one that mattered most. Game 1 in Oklahoma City. The Joker stood tall.
All right, I just noticed something. That was fantastic, by the way. I've been moving stuff in my office all day. I feel like my shirt's going to – this is for the ladies, all right? I got to make sure I'm professional, though, all right? I got to do this. It's getting a little hot in here. All right, I love your passionate answer. I really do. 2 things he did last night. Number 1, there was an outlet pass he threw, I think, in the first half. Holy macaroni. One of those, like, Kevin Love passes, okay? Second, I know you saw this. You know, they always make fun of him where he doesn't show a lot of passion. Like, you know, he's not very vocal. He's not, you know, he feels like he's a robot. Oh, he was yelling on the sideline like he was the coach, like he's Bill Russell, player coach.
He took over the title, didn't he?
He did. He really did. He was yelling at those players, and they believe in him. And you're absolutely right. He makes others better. Like, you look at Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. All of them are great because he made them better. He's a great teammate. I text you this all the time. He's a Tim Duncan, but he might be better. And Tim Duncan on my list, I think he's now the most underrated player ever in basketball because Tim Duncan, 15 years or so, every year, 50 wins, 5 titles. It could have been more. And he helped Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker and Kawhi Leonard get to that next level. That's what the Joker, and I'll tell you this. So I'm listening to the radio the other day, and they're doing this is like ESPN Radio National, and they're doing this like lazy debate where Kendrick Perkins, and I like Kendrick Perkins, he's like, well, if Steph Curry wins another title, he's in the GOAT conversation. And I'm just like, okay, it's like time out. Okay, time out. Jordan is the GOAT. All right, I'm sorry. In my book, Jordan's number one. All these other guys are Mount Rushmore. If you want to go Magic, Larry, Will Chamberlain, Kareem, right? All those, Bill Russell, LeBron's up there. Steph Curry's going to be up there. Tim Duncan. Steph is going to be one of the great players of all time, and he did change the league. But like,
no question.
But like they talk GOAT. I'm like, are you watching the Joker? Are you seeing what he's doing? Are you just so lazy? I don't get it, Coach. I don't.
It wasn't that long ago that Magic Johnson kind of redefined the game of basketball. Okay, let's be honest. When Magic came out of college into the NBA, Showtime with the Los Angeles Lakers revolved around Irvin Magic Johnson, right? And why was that? Why did he change the way we looked at the game? Okay, because Magic was 6'9", and he was bringing the ball up the floor. So Magic was a 6'9" point guard, a 6'9" playmaker, right, Mark?
Yes.
Changed the thought. Before that, everybody thought the point guard had to be the smallest guy on the floor, right? Steph Curry changed the way the game was played because before Steph Curry came along, everybody thought the three-pointer was a nice thing. Now, after Steph Curry's set all the world records for three-point shooting for year after year after year, right? Now it's not a nice thing. Some people look at it, it's the only thing.
Yeah, right? Ask the Celtics, who missed 45 of them. 45. So,
but you can, I think you can give three-point shooting worldwide now, the factor it plays in the professional game, collegiate game, high school game, whatever. You can attribute that to Steph Curry, game-changing, right? Nikola Jokic is the beneficiary of Magic Johnson, right? Magic was the point guard for Showtime with the Los Angeles Lakers at 6'9" and got, 280 pounds. Magic was a ball handler, court vision, playmaker, a magician on the basketball court. Now, Nikola Jokic is 7 feet plus, 300 pounds plus. He's not athletic. He's not quick. Some people debate whether he can jump over the free throw line or not. So at the end of the day, he's changed your concept totally about what it takes to play basketball. Okay, he's big and he's physical, but in the old day, that would be Shaquille O'Neal.
I'm happy you brought that up. I think if I'm playing fantasy, I'd like to see Shaq take on the Joker, both in their primes. Because I think, and I'm sorry if I cut you off. We're here at Coach Mims. Steph Curry made the shot from outside a lethal thing. I think the Joker brought back the big man, where it wasn't cool to have a big man. Right. Now you have to have a big man again. That's what he's done.
But he's not your typical big man.
No, he's okay.
The offense runs through Nikola Jokic. A lot of the time he brings the ball up the floor. If he doesn't bring it up the floor, he steps up to the top of the key, and probably 70% of the time, he's the first guy to touch the ball after it leaves Jamal Murray's hands, right? Or he sets that screen for that pick and roll or that pick and pop. The offense runs through Nikola Jokic, and very rarely does he drift down into the paint and post up. And he's probably the best in the league at it right now. But he can do so many other things, Mark. And the difference between him and Shaq, if they played each other, Joker could defend Shaq down low because size and physicality, right? But Shaq can't step outside and shoot the three.
No.
And
see, that's the hypothetical. If Shaq came out now, if he played at LSU in 2025, would his game be more like the Joker with his body? You still think he'd be exactly the same?
You're talking about a guy that coined the phrase hack a Shaq because he couldn't shoot a free throw. Now you want to compare him to Joker, who can step out and shoot threes from half court. Shaq, and you can't tell me that every NBA franchise that Shaq played for didn't have a specific coach hired specifically to teach Shaq how to make free throws. Now, I don't think he was ever going to be a 90% free throw shooter, but I think most teams would have just liked to have Shaq shoot 60% at the line. But it was a hack a Shaq phenomena because everybody knew he couldn't make a shot past 10 feet. So obviously, here's the difference. Both are dominant players in the game. Shaq was a dominant player, collegiately and professionally, okay? Dominant player. Led multiple teams to NBA championships, okay? But the difference between Joker and Shaq, Joker is Shaq's physical presence with everybody's skills. Joker can play every position on the court. If you put a little small forward on him, he's going to back him down and post him up. You put a big small forward on him, Joker's taking him outside, going to put him in a ball screen, going to hit a pop for a three because he went with the roll. You know, Joker can play the point guard. He can beat people off the dribble. And here's the other thing about Joker. We didn't mention it going my long tirade about why he's the best, right? IQ. Yeah. Joker has taught people that it takes two things to play the game. Yeah, everybody wants, you got to have athletes. Athleticism helps. You got to have size. Size helps. Speed. You got to have speed. That helps. Of those three physical characteristics, Joker only has one, size. He's not athletic. He has no speed. What makes up for his lack of athleticism, his lack of speed? IQ. He has the best basketball IQ. That's why he's respected as a coach in the huddle. He can tell those guys how to play because they respect his basketball IQ. He makes plays and sees plays in live action on the court. He's seeing things before it even develops. That's why he's on a different planet when it comes to ability, skills, and basketball IQ.
Okay, next year when Denver comes to Orlando, we're going.
Absolutely.
You and me are going, and then we have to go post game and we have to go meet the Joker. And you have to say this to his face. And you're a coach all over the world, and I know you love international players, and you take great pride in recruiting and developing international and American players as well.
Sure.
You need to meet the Joker. You have to. And the thing I tell people is I saw him in person. He is big. He is 7 feet tall, 300. He is a giant. But what's funny, when you see him play with your own two eyeballs, it's like you're in that YMCA over 40 league. And you see the guy with like the knee pads and he can't run very well, and he's throwing elbows, but he's making these great passes. Yeah. You're like, what the hell is this? You never, it's like when you see Steph Curry the first time or LeBron, you're like, this is amazing. I had that same reaction when I saw the Joker. Like, I can't believe this is real.
Mark, you're absolutely right because he doesn't pass the eye test.
No.
Okay, he's tall. Everybody can say he's tall, but there are a lot of tall guys around the world who can't play basketball.
Hey, right? I'll give you okay. I stood by Kristaps Porzingis. I didn't tell you this yet. So when it was game 4, Boston, Orlando, I got there. I think I got there like 10 minutes before tip-off. So I run, you go through the tunnel. I go by the Boston locker room. And they're coming out. I see Brian Scalabrine, the assistant coach. And by the way, he's big too. People say like, oh, he's the worst player when he played. No, he's awesome. Scalabrine's a big dude. He is. And Porzingis came out, and it's like He had to duck his head to get out of the doors of the locker room, then popped up like a unicorn, I'm not kidding, a giant. And you see Porzingis, and you're like, that guy's that tall. And you see him around the bucket. He doesn't have to jump to dunk the basketball, and he has problems hitting layups. He does. Porzingis should average 25 a game and 15 rebounds, and he doesn't. So what I'm trying to say is, with your praise of the Joker, yeah, he's big, but he can get it done. Look at the IQ. He knows what to do. Dude, Porzingis, you had a player on Florida Tech who was, what, 7'7"? How big was that guy?
7'8". Oh, Paul Sturgis, tall Paul.
He was the guy on Game of Thrones.
Yes.
He was that guy, yeah. So, I mean, what the hell is this when you see Porzingis? Like, what? We got to – okay, so we got to see the Joker, and then we got to see Wembanyama when he's healthy. We got to see how big he is.
I've only watched those two guys, and I'm admired both of them for what they're doing. Wemby's a game-changing guy as well.
Oh, yeah.
His future is, at this point, no one realizes how good he can actually be. But he's going to be another one of those guys, like we talked about Magic changing the game, Steph changing the game, Joker changing the game. Wemby's going to be that same kind of guy, a game-changing guy. Yes, you look at him and say, oh, you're tall, you must play basketball. Sadly, there are a ton of guys tall that can't get it done because they don't have the skill sets, right? They're just tall. They weren't interested in developing. Look, let's be not being, bad or anything. Rudy Gobert is an athlete. He's 7 feet plus tall too. He runs the floor like an antelope. He's a great shot blocker. He has zero offensive skills. When he scores 20 points, it's a revelation. They should have a promotion at the Target Center in Minneapolis. When Rudy scores 20, everybody gets free milkshakes tonight because it's going to happen so rare, On the other hand, there's Jokic, the Joker, who does it almost every night. And the other thing too, Mark,
what?
He's the most unselfish player like that. Nikola doesn't care about scoring points. He scores if he feels he has to score.
That's like Duncan. That's Tim Duncan. That's how he played. That's what it. If I need to get rebounds now, I'm going to get rebounds. If I got to get some layups, I will. If I got to get Aaron Gordon going, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Joker only trails 2 people now in playoff triple doubles. You know that, right? He only trails 2 people in NBA playoff triple doubles, right? And they're Hall of Famers already, okay? But when you look at him, he would rather have a triple double going 13, 15, and 10 than scoring 42 points because he knows he did a little something, everything to help his team win.
Okay, we just went 23 minutes on Joker. Okay, this is so funny. And you get so passionate. And by the way, and so do I. Okay, you know what player I think would be shooting threes now from the 90s, a center? I think Akeem Olajuwon would be hitting threes. I think because he could move around. I know you're going to roll your eyes at me. I think maybe Akeem. And this is my other thing. I think Paolo Banchero this offseason, he needs to call up these great players like an Akeem Olajuwon or a Tim Duncan. And I love Paolo. I'm his biggest fan. I think to go to that next level, like when you see him play, and I get it, he has no help in the backcourt, like none. So I know he's trying to do everything. He's trying to be too much a little like Carmelo Anthony at times. No, you're bigger than him. You're 6'10", 260. Like, call up LeBron, call up all these big guys, because I think Paolo can get to that next level, and I think some of these greats need to call him and help him out this summer. Do you feel that way?
Oh, I agree with you. Everything you said there, 110%, except one thing, right? No help in the backcourt. They were injured this year. The best backcourt players didn't play a whole lot this year. I mean, I like Suggs. I think Suggs is a heck of a guard. He brings you size, athleticism, skills. He was on the bench 2/3 of the season this year, injured. Yeah. The Orlando Magic probably were the best team that's at home right now and the best lower seed to get into the postseason simply because of injuries. They had the young talent to be a top 4 seed, but they weren't healthy. I've always said this, Mark, in all my 43 years of coaching, it takes 3 things to win a championship.
All right.
Talent. The Magic have talent. They have talent. They have talent in every position, and it's youthful talent. Talent's number 1. Number 2, luck. Yeah. You got to be a little lucky. Do you remember a guy for the Toronto Raptors when Nick Nurse won the NBA championship with the Toronto Raptors and took the title and the trophy north of the border? Okay. There was a guy named Kawhi Leonard who hit a shot falling out of bounds on the baseline in the corner. He was falling into the crowd. He didn't even see the shot go in. That was a lucky shot. But if he doesn't hit that shot, they don't advance. To win championships, you got to have a little luck along the way. Talent, luck, and you know what the third thing is? Healthy.
Yeah.
The teams that win championships have their best players play more games. They have healthy guys most of the year. When you have to go to your bench, you don't have as much success. Now, that's not knocking the bench, but there's a reason they're on the bench. They're backups. They're not as good as the guys starting, and they're not made to play 40 out of 48 minutes in the NBA. They're bench guys. When they come in and play 1 or 2 games and look great, when they play 5 or 10 minutes and look great, they're doing their job as a bench player, right? But when they become a starter, your team's going to struggle. The Orlando Magic this year had talent. Maybe they didn't have luck, and they certainly weren't healthy. Their best players spent more time on the bench than on the parquet in Orlando.
We're here with Billy Mims, yes, head basketball coach for the world. I want to update your resume, okay? 43 years of experience, okay? And I know this summer you're going to be coaching, you're going to be doing all this stuff. And can I come with you this time? I know you've done. How many weeks do you go for? Because I'm going to have to tell Cumulus Media this.
It depends. It depends. It depends on how many gigs I get. But I do travel most summers, maybe 5 or 6 weeks.
You're probably you just gave that speech about the 3 things you need to win a title. I imagine you're in Greece, or because you've done this before. You're in Greece, Ireland, England, Spain. You're like, all right, those are the 3 things of success. Also, do any of you have Nikola Jokic's number? Because we're going to need him as well. Okay, if we're going to win. Does anyone have LeBron?
You're going to laugh at this. You're going to laugh at this. This is really good lead in, right? A moment ago, we were talking about height. Yeah. And you brought up my former player, Paul Sturgis, Tall Paul, who went on to play for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, that's cool.
He was the tallest player in the world at 7 feet, 8 inches tall, and played for the Globetrotters. Now, mind you, the Globetrotters called him Tiny on the back of his shirt. Tiny, not Tall Paul. You were tiny, right?
That's like they'll call me Fat Moses. That's what mine will be. Okay, so keep going.
But he wore a size 23 shoe. 23, right? I still have the shoe, right? Uh-huh. When I go do a speaking engagement here in the States, a coaching clinic or a camp here in the States or internationally, wherever I go, I take those shoes with me. And they're in a bag, right? And I do the whole speech.
You put those through TSA at the airport.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
So they're in a bag, right? Size 23s. They were actually created on a model that they'd made for Shaquille O'Neal back when he was a Reebok guy, right? You remember the pump?
Yeah.
The Reebok. So they're a Reebok pump. They're a size 23. But if you know your history, Shaq wasn't a 23. Shaq was a 21, okay? So they took Shaq's 21. They took Paul's mold of his feet. We sent them to Asia, wherever Reebok was being made at that time, right?
Yeah.
sent the mold, and we sent all the information. Reebok did. And we get back these beautiful new pumps, right, that are now size 23s, right, to fit Paul, right? But inside the shoe, it still said 21. They made the 23, but they were copying everything, right, from Shaq's shoe. They copied the size chart inside, too. So it's a 23 labeled as a 21. And the best thing about the whole thing, it's a Reebok pump without a pump. You know why? Now, it looks like it has a pump, but there's no pump mechanism in it, right? Because the cost of, we were only making him like 5 pairs of shoes, right? So Reebok made 5 pairs of shoes. But to redesign the pump to put in those 5 pairs of shoes would have cost thousands of dollars, thousands, tens of thousands. They said, it'll look like the pump, but no pump.
I'm happy you could help him out. I know it must not be easy for him to find shoes and clothes. And, you know, it's kind of like when you go to like Marshall's or Ross, you'll see the shoe section. All of a sudden there'll be like a size 18. Still not big enough for him. Still has to go. They put a boat motor in there. Like I can go into the Lake Washington and
I guarantee there's people that could ski on them. You know?
Yeah, you're not kidding. All right, that's awesome. I know he's a great guy as well. He is. Billy Mims joining me here on the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Also want to give a shout out to Chumley's Depot in downtown Melbourne and Walk On Sports Bistreaux. All right, that's 31 minutes. Let's just do this real quick then. Okay. There was a player last night who was voted the most overrated player by his peers. So every NBA player takes that survey and, you know, they ask them all those different questions. What's the best place to play? What's the best market? All these things. Every NBA player, they voted. Maybe it's not everyone, but the overall is Tyrese Halliburton on the Indiana Pacers, the most overrated player. Well, guess what? He got that rebound with 12 seconds to go on the road. And for some reason, no one boxed him out. And then no one knew what to do. It was awful. The last 30 seconds will be in the Coaching for Dummies, What Not to Do by Cleveland. And he said, I'm taking that shot. I give him all the credit. And I think it's been 31 years since another Indiana Pacer, I'm going to talk like you, 31 years since another Indiana Pacer, Reggie Miller, who was there in the Garden and ripped the heart out of the New York Knicks, scoring, was it like 7 points and whatever it was? You know the play, right?
Yeah.
That's what he only scored 19 last night. But man, oh man, that shot. That's it. The Cavs are done. I'm calling I know it's best of 7. Cleveland's now winning 4 of 5 now. No way. They're done. Maybe they go to 5 or 6 games. Indiana's winning this series. That was an all-time dagger. All time. I know Caitlin Clark is the king now of Indiana basketball. No, Halliburton. What are your thoughts, buddy? After that
I'm going to say 2 things to that, right? Number one, a lot of guys have said this in my career, right? Mm-hmm. Just goes to show you what players know.
I know. They're at home watching the game like you and me.
Players think like players and don't think like coaches. Remember those guys that were picking Jokic in the pickup game when he was 9 years old?
Yeah.
They were thinking like players, right? You know, but the coach would have stood there watching that young kid courtside, and he goes, I'm taking that guy first because that guy's got more IQ than all you guys who think you look like players. And that's what the players did when they said the most overrated guy, Tyrese Halliburton, right? Mm-hmm. Secondly, my son loves Tyrese Halliburton, right? And he's been going on lately that late in the ball game. Now, mind you, I showed him something the other day, stat-wise. Tyrese Halliburton this year was the most efficient point guard in the NBA. Did you know that? He had over 600 assists in the NBA this year. Over 600, Mark, and less than 140 turnovers. His assist-to-turnover ratio, off the charts. The most efficient point guard in the NBA this year because of assist-to-turnover ratio. Turnovers are empty possessions. With Tyrese Halliburton, you have very few empty possessions. His teammates get shots because he doesn't turn the ball over, right? Josh, my son, says that when it gets late in the ball game, though, despite how many points, you said it, what do you have, 7 points last night? Despite the points, he's out there creating for his teammates the whole game, managing the game, which is the number one skill of a point guard. Can a point guard manage the game, okay? Assist to turnovers 6-1, that's managing the game, right? But Josh says that when it gets in those last few minutes and the game's on the line, it's Hallie time. Hallie time. And I'd never heard that. I was like, where'd you come up? Oh, it's Hallie time. And so a few times he'd say, Dad, it's Hallie time. And Pacers won the game, right? Last night, when it was Hallie time, Tyrese Halliburton won the game. And remember one more thing. Those NBA coaches that don't think he's the most overrated player, right, in the NBA, chose him to play for Team USA over the Boston Celtics championship guard, right, who was the MVP of the finals last year, and yet MVP of the NBA finals, and you're not good enough to play for Team USA. We want Tyrese Halliburton. So, hey, Hallie time might be real. And those guys who voted him the most overrated player in the NBA for Tyrese Halliburton, Hallie time, now fire up that Toby Keith. How do you like me now?
You're absolutely right. That shot reminded me, we just talked about this with the Final Four where the Gators went on that run, and there was that one of the games, and they're all a blur now. Walter Clayton maybe it was the Elite Eight game. Walter Clayton understood, okay, I got to hit a three. Remember, he's at the free throw and then step back, hit the three. That's what Halliburton did as well. He understood, you talk about intelligence before with the Joker. He understood we're down a couple points, 12 seconds ago, no timeout, understood maybe I shouldn't pass. He must have thought, I know, look, you can explain this better than me as a coach. It's like, I don't want Cleveland to get set. They're completely confused. I'm taking this guy off the dribble. Do you think that's what he's thinking with 10 seconds to go?
When he got the ball and he backed out with it, right? He got the ball. He didn't just go up for two. He got the ball and backed away with it and then danced around with it for a few seconds. Remember that?
Yeah.
It wasn't a quick decision on his part, right?
No, and you have to understand the time. The time's you have to get the shot off. See, I honestly, in the moment, my brain rebound, I would have, okay, put it back. Like put it back, because is that what you teach your guys? Is that what you have done? Look at this, right? He was in the perfect position to make the right decision, right? When he rebounded the ball, he was on the right side of the lane looking at the basket, right? As he rebounded the ball, I guarantee you that game manager guy who was the best manager in the NBA this year, I guarantee he rebounded the ball and he looked at that shot clock. He looked at that game clock on top of the basket, right? Mm-hmm. As he rebounded the ball. Second part of being in the best place, he turned around, dribbled it out, and then danced across the top of the key. And as he started to drive before the step back three, he's looking center of the floor, top of the key, looking right at the basket. Before he shoots the ball, he sees that clock. So now I can make this move. I'm looking at the clock. I can't pass this thing now. Ball's in my hands. The game's in my hands. I'm going to step up for my team. It's Hallie time. I'm going to win the game. Tyrese Halliburton was a hero. And look at it, Mark. As you said, I think the Cavs are done. I don't care how good they were this year now. They lost both game 1 and 2 on their home floor. Now they have to go to Indy. Indy's guys are riding high. Doggone well, Indy will play even better at home in Indianapolis. So they're going home. The crowd will be going crazy. The confidence is sky high. It's going to be hard. I think, look, they have the home court advantage now. And all they have to do is win 2 out of 3 in Indy.
2 out of 3 in Indy. That's all they got to do. Now, for Cleveland to get the home court back, they got to win 2 out of 3 in Indy and 2 more in Cleveland. I'm with you, 4 out of 5, but having to win 2 of them in Indy is going to be difficult.
The only thing you say if you're Cleveland is, hey, both games were super close. We didn't get blown out or embarrassed, so maybe there's some hope. But I think they're done. They're done.
But, Mark, they were at home.
I know.
They ought to be embarrassed that both games were super close.
Well, look, I get it. You got so many injuries, but they kept giving up offensive rebounds with 45 seconds ago. That's what's funny. You forget Halliburton took the free throw shot and missed it and got the rebound back.
Right.
What? So the best was Shaq. I loved what he said post game. He said, we were in that situation once with Phil Jackson on the Lakers. And he's absolutely right. And I bring this up because you're the coach, where he's like, we're celebrating the locker room, and Phil Jackson, the Zen master, walks in. He goes, look, you had no business winning this game. Don't celebrate. We got to go take care of business back home. He's right.
And you can't, in a 7-game series, I mean, this is the NBA. You know, this is what it's all about, right? They play 82 games throughout the year. The great NBA players know how to do 2 things: manage their body, got to be healthy for an 82-game regular season. Every NBA player that's on a good team that goes deep in the playoffs is going to play over 100 games. 100 games of basketball, 3 games a week kind of activity, up and down the floor. I know we say, well, baseball plays 162. But baseball players stand around for most of the game. They sprint when the ball's hit to them. They stand and watch the rest of the game, right?
You're such a basketball guy. With that,
basketball guys are running the court up and down. Every position. It's like it's put it in context. It's like if every batter up, you change positions on the field. Guy gets out, you run to the dugout. You bat, you run back out there. Guy gets out, you run to the dugout, you run back. No, it doesn't work. You go out to the field and you might be out there 20 minutes waiting for the other team to get out. Then you go to the dugout. You might be sitting in the dugout 20 minutes waiting for a hit. In the NBA, it is a track meet, up and down, up and down. And you know what? Speaking of that, we got to go to one thing. The track meet at the end of the Nuggets' big win, right? We talked about the Orlando Magic, how much you like Paolo. I was devastated when they got rid of Aaron Gordon.
I love him.
I liked Aaron Gordon as a person. I liked him as a player. And sometimes I think the Magic have made dumb decisions over the years, not being patient enough with their young talent. Aaron Gordon, great example of that, right? It's like a college coach signing a great freshman, but not giving him enough playing time at the end of the year, even though he had a good freshman year. You hope he jumps in the transfer portal, and you hope he leaves because you don't have the patience to develop him over 4 years, right? That's what it felt like when the Magic got rid of Aaron Gordon. They needed more patience, right? In that win, watching that game, talk about fast break transition basketball, right? First, a lot of things had to happen for the Nuggets to win that game. A lot of things on that last possession, right? And what happened? First, Chet Holmgren misses not 1, but 2 free throws. Missed them both, okay? Dagger right there. One of them, gives you some sort of hope. And if it's the second, the Nuggets got to take the ball out of bounds. But he missed them both. Secondly, there was no offensive rebound, right? OKC, nobody rebounded. Ball went to Christian Brown. Christian Brown got it and took off up the floor. But he was smart enough, Mark, to only take 1 dribble. Christian Brown got it, put it on the floor one time, looked up the floor. What did he see? Russell Westbrook already darting down the floor, right lane. NBA Hall of Famer to be Russell Westbrook. Christian Brown hits Russell Westbrook. Hit a head pass, right wing. Now next, Russell Westbrook could have said, hey, I'm going to win this thing. At that point, it was actually, if you look back, it was a 2-on-2 break. Russell Westbrook had it on the right wing. OKC had a defender on the right side, kind of matched up with him. Russell could have put it on the floor tried to drive it and score, try to get fouled, old-fashioned three-point play, get to the rim, get fouled, right? No. As soon as Russell took 2 dribbles, he saw on the left wing, wide open at the 3, Aaron Gordon. Mm-hmm. And Russell said, you know what? One of the guys under the basket was Chet Holmgren, okay? He was back there with size and length and all that. He sprinted back well, right? But, you know, if I go to the rim, I might get my shot blocked. Russell read the court, immediately kicked it to Aaron Gordon. And if you watch the post-game interview, they asked Aaron what was he thinking about when he caught the ball. He said, well, he was tired, right? He was gassed. And he said, I looked at the paint, and it looked crowded. I thought this was the best shot we were going to get, and I took it.
And Aaron Gordon's 6'10".
Yes.
He's big. I'll just tell you this. That's a great breakdown. Aaron Gordon was one of like the first basketball players I interviewed here on the coast when he got drafted in 2014, and I went to camp that fall and I interviewed him, and I might've been his first interview, you know, when you think about it, after practice he probably ever did in the NBA. So there's a photo of me and him. So I think one of our listeners saw him at an event like, oh, Aaron, I heard you on Mark's show. Oh, it was awesome. And Aaron's like, oh, you mean that short guy? And he's like, yeah. Yeah, compared to Aaron Gordon, I'm short, right? Like,
wait a minute. That comes from the guy that I remember when you were doing post-game interviews for another local basketball team.
Yeah.
They had a box out courtside so you could stand on the box so you can look the coach eye to eye. So
yes, I've had to use the box. I had to use it on TV.
But Mark, you know why I'm disappointed in you for that?
What? What are you disappointed?
Because you're taller than Tracy Wolfson, and they don't even give Tracy Wolfson a box. What are we saying here, Mark?
I need the box. Okay. I need there's essentially, like when you go on News 13, and you've done it as well. I went on one time with John Denton, who used to write for the Florida Today, and he worked for the Orlando Magic. Now he covers the St. Louis Cardinals for the team. It's like his dream job. It's awesome. John's like 6'5". Yeah. So there's one time I went on with there, and they went right away, Mark, you're going to have to use the box. And I'm like, why? Because it makes sense. Because it looks like Gandalf is with Frodo on the screen. Okay? And I'm not short, but compared to him, I am. So let's end with this. I know we went long. We'll go, another couple minutes here with Coach Billy Mims. Appreciate coming on. I saw Chris Finch, your boy, who you've been friends with a long time, the head basketball coach at Minnesota. And he came out. He did not mess around. He called out his superstar, Anthony Edwards, who scored like 1 point in the first half, that he needs to play better. Did you like that he did that after they lost game 1 at home?
You know why I thought that was important? And Chris is really, really good at man management, right? A lot of coaches in the NBA are good at X's and O's. A lot of coaches are good at man management, right? But it's the guys that are good at both X's and O's and man management. They're the guys that have long NBA careers. Chris Finch is good at both X's and O's and man management. And I think that was an educational moment for his young superstar. If you remember, I was up there back in October. Okay. Yeah. I was at training camp. I was there for the first 3 days of practice for these guys, not training camp. And I was there for the first 3 days of practicing. I was there the day that Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo walked in to the practice facility. I was there that day, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
So I watched them practice the day before they joined the team, and then I watched them practice their first day with the team. Well, during that time, I remember there was a moment where they were in a late into practice sort of scrimmage situation, and Ant was dribbling the ball too much, and every possession he was trying to bring the ball up the floor, bring the ball up the floor, bring the ball up the floor, right? And Chris looked at him and blew the whistle, walked to center court, and they gathered up the guys that were on the court at that time. And he said, he turned to him and said, Ant, you're dribbling too much. Give the ball up. You're dribbling too much. And Ant said something back, right? And kind of under his breath said something back. And you're watching this young superstar. Mind you, now remember, this was a beginning of this season. So almost 100 games ago now, right?
Yeah.
And I've watched this young man develop from that moment throughout this year to really become a superstar, right? But at that moment, when Ant bit back and said something, leaning over, grabbing his shorts, tired, into practice, said something to Chris's remark, Chris just calmly walked away and didn't take it a step further. And you know what happened then?
What?
Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert both walked over and both got in Ant's face and had a little veteran conversation to the young superstar. And it was all about, you need to listen to Chris. He knows what he's talking about. If you listen to him, he's going to make you a better player. And I saw that moment. And then I watched, as you said, the post-game press conference and Chris's comments. And you know what I saw again? That man manager, that teacher, that educator. It was a teaching moment, a moment to tell his young superstar, you've had a great season, but it ain't over yet. We ain't done yet. You ain't done yet. We got a lot more basketball to play. You have to step up. It's playoff time now. You have to be the best you've ever been. And I know Ant felt great with how he played and beating LA. But remember, in that last win in LA, that last game in the first round series against Los Angeles, he didn't have a great game. So coming from that game, I think he was 0 for 8 behind the arc in that game. Coming into this game one at home, in now the second round, right, which is the conference semifinals, right? Stakes are higher, right, Mark? Stakes are higher. But he had 1 point in the first half. And I think, so he was on a streak of like 0 for 11 behind the arc, right? 1 point at the half. Only went to the line one time. He was 1 for 2 at the line in the first half. He wasn't getting by people. He wasn't aggressive enough. He wasn't getting fouled. If you're not making jump shots, then you're the athlete he is. Blow by people. Put him in situations they got to foul you. He should, if he's not hitting jumpers, he should have been attacking the basket every time he had the ball, either kicking to open shooters, collapsing the defense, or getting fouled and getting to the free throw line. But no matter what he does, he's that important to his team's success. He has become their floor superstar. The game now is at the highest he's ever played it. He's got to step up his game. And it was a great moment for Chris Finch. Also another moment to say to his team, his entire team, is that everybody on this team are held to the same standards of excellence.
Great point. Look, they had no business losing that game last night after Steph Curry got injured. No, they should have hammered them at home. It's funny. It's like you feel the atmosphere of the crowd and the energy, and they feel like they're determined, and then they just shoot themselves in the foot and they play like trash. That's not good. And they're just blowing layups. And now I'm ready. All right, I am. And by the way, I'll just say this. I look at those photos where the Dallas Mavericks had Jalen Brunson and Luka, and I'm just like, just not good.
What was that word I used a few minutes ago? Patience.
Yeah, you're not
patience.
No, all right. I'll tell you patience. I'll let you go. So I saw a video the other day of my Bears quarterback, Caleb Williams, where he's getting out of a limo. This is for real. He's in Miami Beach, a place that I like to frequent, and a place that you lived in one time, and you've been many times. So Bears quarterback Caleb Williams is coming out of a limo with 3 supermodels, and he's living the dream. He's going to some nightclub that I'm not allowed to go to, living the dream. And I told that to my dad on the phone. I was like, look, buddy, you better live it up right now. This is the offseason, because when it's go time, just like I'll be Chris Finch to Anthony Edwards, hey, when we get to those real games, there's no nightclubs in Miami Beach for you and supermodels. No, it's go time, and we need to win. All right, I'm not kidding around. He has all the pressure in the world. Kind of like how a president gets in the Oval Office and like Obama, like Clinton, your hair turns gray completely. That's what it's like if you're going to be the quarterback of the Bears. Okay, that's what it is. But it's like, one day if I work hard enough, maybe I can get one supermodel to come out of a car with me in Miami. If I put it on layaway, or if like in Miami, you can rent a car for a couple hours to pretend you're a big shot. Maybe I do that.
Well, you said you couldn't get into the club that he was going into on Miami Beach.
Oh, yeah.
It's because you can't buy the club on Miami Beach.
No.
He could buy the club, right?
I got kicked out. Me and my buddies, we tried. We didn't even get kicked out. We couldn't even get into the front door. That one, like Live, the one that like the Miami Heat with T. Wade and LeBron. No, they said, sorry. Dress code was not good enough. You know what that means? Even if you're wearing a suit, you are not good enough to get in here. Okay. So true. Did you ever go? I know your family's watching. Did you ever go to that nightclub? Well,
it wasn't there when I was there because it was a while ago. But we used to go to some places, right?
Go. Wink, wink.
There was a place down on South Beach back in the day, and I bumped into Pat Riley there one night. This is when he was coaching the Miami Heat. Okay,
nice.
Not as his presidential
Godfather.
role, Godfather role. Yeah. He was coaching the Miami Heat, and the place was called Club New, NU, right? NU, Club New, on South Beach, right? And it was famous because if you went to Club New, right, if you stayed there till the sun came up, because it's Miami, there is no 2 a.m. close.
Yeah, it never ends.
So if you stayed there until the sun came up, right, you got this free breakfast buffet. When they closed the club, they brought the breakfast. And I started thinking to these idiots that were staying there. Hey, I'm staying because when the sun comes up, the breakfast buffet is on. And I thought, how much money did you spend to stay here all night long that you could have got a $5.99 breakfast at Denny's instead of that was the most expensive breakfast of your life, right? But we bumped into Pat Riley. You have to finish your story like your Chicago Bears quarterback. Pat Riley walks in, right? And he's got blonde bombshell number 1 under the right arm, blonde bombshell number 2 under the left arm. And they walk in, and obviously they are the epitome of what you would call in Webster's dictionary. When you see this word, you have this photo of Pat and these 2 girls right next to it, right?
What's the word?
Gold diggers, okay? The epitome. But where does he go when he walks in with them? Champagne section. Straight to the champagne. A bouncer opens the little velvet roping, and Pat goes back. The next thing you know, there's champagne bottles on ice, beautiful glasses. The rope goes back. You could stand there and watch Pat Riley, but you weren't getting autographs or photos. You weren't meeting Pat. He was in the champagne room with a couple of gold diggers.
And they got their autographs. Don't worry. They were allowed. Okay, his name's Billy Mims. I know we're going to watch basketball tonight. Thank you. We went an hour. It was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Have fun tonight watching the games, and I hope I can get you on again some.
Thanks, Mark. Always a pleasure.